Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Human Resources in History. This podcast aims to offer insights from 7,000 years of human history to help modern human resource practices. I'm your host, Jin. I'm an HR professional, and I love history. The script of this podcast is generated using AI, and it's based on our blog post which we published a few weeks ago under the same topic. This voice is a synthetic clone of my real voice, and it is generated using AI. Today's topic is the Enlightenment, a time when some of the brightest minds came together to organize knowledge like never before. We will talk about the Encyclopédie, that massive French encyclopedia from the 18th century that was a game changer for knowledge sharing. And yes, this massive undertaking holds valuable lessons for us in HR today, especially when it comes to knowledge management. Let's think for a second about how easy it is to find information now. We've got search engines like Google, and now even more advanced AI-backed tools that let us access knowledge with just a few clicks. But imagine a world without these tools. A world where finding reliable information meant searching through piles of books or relying on word of mouth. Not so easy, right? The Encyclopédie was one of the earliest attempts to collect and structure human knowledge systematically. And in doing so, it not only helped spread information across Europe, but also laid the groundwork for many practices in knowledge management that we can use today. Let's take a closer look at the Encyclopédie. The official name in French is Encyclopédie, ou Dictionnaire raisonné des sciences, des arts et des métiers. In English, it means the Encyclopedia of Sciences, Arts, and Trades. This was no small project. Between 1751 and 1772, they published 32 volumes with more than 70,000 articles. That's huge, especially for that time. This project had over 140 contributors, with Denis Diderot and Jean-Laurent d'Alembert, two well-known Enlightenment thinkers, leading the effort. In the Encyclopédie, Diderot wrote that its purpose was to collect knowledge disseminated around the globe so that the work of preceding centuries will not become useless to the centuries to come. This wasn't just about gathering knowledge for the moment, but ensuring it would be passed down for generations, a legacy for humanity. It's a mission that sounds kind of like what we do with knowledge management in companies today. One of the cool things about the Encyclopédie was its use of cross-references, which linked ideas across disciplines. This was pretty innovative for the time and allowed readers to explore topics from different perspectives. Diderot believed this encyclopedia could not be the work of a single person. It required collaboration from various experts, which echoes the collective work we see in modern organizations. But of course, it wasn't smooth sailing. Diderot and his team faced censorship from the royal authorities. The Encyclopédie included some ideas that weren't exactly friendly toward absolute monarchy or the church, and so Diderot had to navigate the political waters carefully. For instance, he placed religious entries near the front so that censors might not read further to the riskier content. Smart, right? All right, so what does all this have to do with HR? Let's break it down. Knowledge management, or KM, is all about organizing, storing, and sharing knowledge within an organization. It's making sure that the right people can access the information they need when they need it to get their job done efficiently. In today's workplace, companies struggle with knowledge management. Reports say that nearly half of employees have trouble finding documents, and a lot of companies lack tools for capturing and sharing knowledge effectively. When employees can't find the information they need, it can really affect their productivity. HR can play a huge role here. Even though some people think knowledge management should be an IT function, The reality is that it's closely tied to employee experience, which is in HR's domain. If employees can't easily access information, it impacts their job satisfaction and productivity. So, HR teams are often at the front of knowledge management initiatives. All right, so how do we actually do knowledge management? IBM defines KM as the process of identifying, organizing, storing, and disseminating information within an organization. Now, let's break this down. First, identifying and organizing information. You need to know what information you have and where it's located. This might sound simple, but in a big organization, it's often not. Just like Diderot had to structure knowledge across different sciences and arts, we need to organize company information into categories. For HR, this might mean breaking down processes like hiring, onboarding, development, and offboarding into smaller sections, then mapping out the knowledge required for each. In the Encyclopédie, Diderot created a structure inspired by philosopher Francis Bacon. They called it the Tree of Diderot and D'Alembert. This tree organized human knowledge into different branches. Similarly, in HR, we can create a knowledge tree that organizes information across various HR functions. This way, employees know exactly where to find the information they need. Next, storing information. Once you've organized your knowledge, you need a reliable way to store it. In Diderot's time, they used books, printing over 4,000 copies of the Encyclopédie, which spread across Europe. These books were stored in libraries, making the information accessible for years to come. Today, we don't need to rely on printed books. We've got online tools like SharePoint, Confluence, and even Notion. They make it easy to store and update information so that everyone in the company can access it. It's important to establish clear processes and governance, though, to make sure everything stays up to date. Finally, disseminating information. This is probably the most crucial step. Employees need to know where to find information, and they need to actually use it. There are several ways to encourage this. For example, you can set the knowledge management platform as the default page on browsers or link it to the employee portal. Most platforms come with a search function, so employees can quickly find what they're looking for, like they would on Google. And some platforms now even integrate AI tools that improve search quality. But it's not just about the tech, it's also about culture. You want to foster a culture where people feel encouraged to document and share knowledge. Peter Drucker once said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." And that's so true here. You can have the best KM system in place, but if people aren't using it or adding to it, it won't be effective. So it's up to HR to lead awareness campaigns, trainings, and shift the company culture to value information sharing. Lastly, collaboration with other teams is key. HR might lead the initiative, but collaboration with IT and other departments is essential. IT brings technical know-how, while HR brings in subject matter experts from various departments like marketing and finance to help structure the content. When the system is ready to go live, you'll need everyone on board to promote and support its use. So, to wrap up, the Encyclopédie wasn't just an encyclopedia, it was a model for effective knowledge management. It taught us the value of structuring information, collaborating across fields, and making knowledge accessible to all. But it's also a reminder to think about who contributes to this knowledge. The Encyclopédie was created by a group of men, and there's no record of women contributors, which reminds us of the importance of diversity in knowledge management today. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Human Resources in History. Remember, knowledge is power, and by managing it well, we're not just improving productivity, we're building a stronger, more connected workplace. Catch you next time.